Howard County has pockets where public transportation is not available. For instance, a citizen is unable to safely take public transportation to a Board of Education meeting. How do you propose to improve public transportation while respecting the environment?
Well, that was a very good question. First, on transportation, I will say that we have combined bus systems with 5 other counties and jurisdictions to create the Regional Transit Agency. That is in the very beginning stages. But what it will enable us to do is A, save money, and the savings for the RTA is about $2.8 million a year for the jurisdictions, most of which comes in Howard County, the savings. And in doing so, we're going to reroute buses, and hopefully we're going to be able to provide a bus route to the Board of Education. That's actually something we've been working on. It's very important. In addition to that, just on transportation, part of my education platform, which, by the way, all my platforms are on the website, and the education platform says that I, as county executive, will provide the funding for an after-school middle school activity bus to make sure that all middle schoolers have the opportunity to stay after school and participate in programs and be able to have transportation home, which is not the case now. Are you in middle school?
Yes.
Okay, very good. So this would enable all students to stay after if they chose to with programs, and that helps students stay busy, gets them involved. They can do academic programs, they can do sports programs, but we cannot afford not to get our middle schoolers engaged in productive activities after school, and that's something that I feel very strongly about, and it goes along with the transportation question. And because we're in middle school, I had to mention it.
Point of clarification, so you were talking about the activity buses in the middle school sports, so would you roll out interscholastic sports for middle schools, or just keep the intramurals?
That is a decision for the Board of Education, but I'm a big believer in middle school sports, and whether it's, I think intramurals is fine. I really do, especially with all the sports leagues that we have across the county, but if the school system chose to do interscholastic sports, I would be fine with that too. I think sports are a fantastic way for our students to stay off of social media, video games, to learn discipline and teamwork. And I myself played 3 sports in high school, and all of my children have played sports. And so, yes.
Let me respond to the last part first. 3 of my 4 children played middle school sports, and they actually played travel sports, and they played it with the middle school as the name, even though the middle school couldn't sanction it. And it was really sad, but they played for Folly Quarter Middle School, and they played all across Central Maryland and did us proud. And they would play against Glenwood. It was a really neat thing, and so I strongly support doing what we can to provide that, because I do agree with Councilwoman Watson that it is something that kids can learn from, and it can make them strong people. Talk about transportation, and thank you for your question. I can tell you also asked for how to do it with respect to the environment. And I really do believe that if we do more public transportation, if we figure out ways in which we can get people off the roads, that is going to be helping our environment. I'm one of these folks who doesn't believe you can build our way out of these problems. We have to figure out ways in which we can get people out of their cars. And bus rapid transit is probably the best way to do that with transportation hubs. We already have some transportation centers and hubs planned, but we need to do more. And that'll help us with our economic growth as well. As we bring more jobs to Howard County, they're going to have more people coming here. We need to figure out how they're going to get around. So I definitely want to do that. But I also want to add something that happened just the other day. I was visiting some seniors in North Wall, and what they told me was amazing. The county has a bus that goes 2 miles, up to 2 miles away from their senior place where they stay. And they said the only way we can get to that bus and go to the grocery store is to walk 2 miles. Seniors would have to walk 2 miles. And they've talked to the county about going just a little bit farther. 2 miles is not that far, folks. Just a little bit farther to let them pick them up. And the county has not been willing to do that. I think we need to have senior routes. We need to figure out the best way we can help the seniors, and maybe just have a seniors bus. We got to figure out some way, because there are a lot of seniors who are 80 years old or above who don't drive anymore. And we have to make it better for them as well. So that's one thing that came to my mind when you said transportation. You talked about getting the Board of Education meeting. I think also helping our seniors be able to get around better as well. Thanks.
Okay, I have some questions from the audience. Do you believe Howard County should pay more for school construction by paying prevailing wage instead of saving money with competitive bidding for school construction?
Mr. Kittleman, respond first.
Thank you very much. I have lived that issue in Annapolis. I serve on the Senate Finance Committee, and we dealt with prevailing wage. I sit on that commission for the last year, and I can tell you, unfortunately, I opposed this, but unfortunately it passed. Right now, Howard County will have no choice. They will have to pay the prevailing wage for school construction projects. Up until now, Howard County could avoid the prevailing wage. And just so you know, the prevailing wage is basically the union wage. The free market wage is whatever the free market will have. And Howard County has been double bidding their projects for the last 3 or 4 years. And they tell me, we actually had a meeting with the county council members, the state delegation, and the school system not too long ago. And they tell us it's going to cost them up to 10% more to build a school now because they have to pay prevailing wage. That's something I opposed in the General Assembly. It's something that thankfully the Board of Education of Howard County opposed as well. They sent written testimony saying, please don't do this to our county. Right now we have a hard time building our schools. We have a hard time getting the money to build our schools, but you're going to make it more expensive. For example, the Appleton renovation, it would have cost up to $5 million more to do that renovation under prevailing wage. We didn't do that prevailing wage because we didn't have to. In the future, we're going to have to. So I don't understand how that could be pro-education. People tell me that I'm anti-education. I voted and I spoke up against requiring us to pay higher costs to build schools. That is pro-education. Unfortunately, the county government did not support the Board of Education on this, did not come down to Annapolis, did not send written testimony to Annapolis. They were silent. Why? Maybe because they worried about they might make some of the folks that support them upset. I think you don't worry about who's going to be upset. You do what's best for our kids. And you know what? When you have to pay more, the quality of our schools go down. You don't get to have maybe some environmental features you want to have in the window. You don't get to have the higher science labs. Prevailing wage is really hurting our kids.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
The General Assembly passed the law that increased the participation rate for prevailing wage for school construction dollars. So the county will have to meet that new obligation. I would just say this, the projects are always competitively bid, regardless of the percentage of the state school construction dollars that are going to the project, regardless of whether the project requires prevailing wage. The projects are always competitively bid by the school system. I just wanted to make that point.
If I can respond to that?
Yes.
Competitively bid, but they're competitively bid based upon the prevailing wage. That doesn't make it, it's not a good answer, competitively bid. Just because now they're all using the same higher number and they're competing on that to see who's going to give us the best of all the bad numbers. No, prevailing wage is hurting our kids. It's hurting our families. It's a terrible thing. It shouldn't have passed. Unfortunately, we're going to bear the burden of that. And I think it's important to know that competitively bidding does not make a difference on that.
And I would just respond to that when a project is bid, it's more than just the labor costs. It's the construction costs, it's the equipment, it's everything that goes into that $50 million high school. Labor is part of it. My point is the projects continue to be competitively bid, and I think that was the point that was not clear in Mr. Kittleman's original answer.
Thank you. Ms. Dunn?